There's so much interest and confusion about building AI agent frameworks into businesses. I thought I'd create a special episode that gives you a really practical walkthrough guide on how to actually build an AI agent framework for your business. Here we go. Step one is about monitoring. The thing about AI agents is they need a way to monitor the things that are going on in your business. Now, that could be through log files, it could be through monitoring an Excel spreadsheet. It actually doesn't matter. The important thing is that your AI agent framework needs a way to monitor what's happening in your business. There's a couple of things you really need to think about here. The first thing is, how do you make sure that the information that's going into your AI agent is accurate? So that's really, really critical, making sure that the information that's getting generated gives your AI agent accurate insight as to what it needs to monitor. The second thing is you need to make sure that it's relevant. AI agents are kind of a little bit tricky in the sense that because they're monitoring so many different things, they can easily get tripped up by irrelevant information. So you really want to make sure that the information that's going into your AI agent for monitoring purposes is relevant. Let me give you a really simple, practical example of what this looks like. Imagine you're running a financial services business and you want to create a way to monitor when a weird transaction happens in your business or maybe for one of your clients. So what I would do is make sure that you're feeding the right information. If you're looking for weird activity on a bank statement and you're not giving it any consistent bank statement information, then that's going to be pretty much impossible for the AI to pick it up. So it's got to be relevant. The second thing is it's got to be accurate. So making sure that you're feeding in the right bank statement, with the right information on it's going to be really, really crucial to make sure that that works. And that's all comes down to monitor. The second thing you want to make sure that you get right is how it initially responds. And I just call it respond. In my experience, the most critical time for an AI is when it first responds to something. That initial set of decisions that it makes will generally set the tone for the rest of the things that it does when it executes the decisions. So when it makes the decision incorrectly, you get some terribly bizarre outcomes, and that can be really, really catastrophic for businesses. When your AI gets it right, it can be amazing. It just flows through all of the things that need to happen, and it's like magic. You save hours and hours and hours of time on your business. What you really want to do is to make sure that that initial response is as tightly scoped and clear for the AI to make as possible. And what does that look like? Well, in a previous episode on this podcast, I talked about how important it is to automate the boring stuff. And what I pointed out there is that if you just spend some time every week in your business just templating your processes, turning them into automations, that alone will save you tons. Now, if you've gone through that process, and I highly recommend that you do, then what you'll start to find is that your large language model can simply select from a bunch of different processes. And because each of those processes will be well codified and well described and well structured, it becomes really easy for your AI agent to figure out what it needs to do and then simply delegate the execution of that particular process to that automated workflow. But that initial response is super, super critical. I cannot emphasize that enough. The third step then in your AI agent framework is to figure out how to interact with your systems. Now, here's the thing. If we take a little bit of a step back and put this into a little bit of context, you are presumably implementing an AI agent framework into your business because you want to take advantage of the incredible advances that are happening all around us in the age of automation and AI, which is pretty awesome. The thing is, for AI agents to really be agentic in your business, they need a way to interact with your systems that your business runs on. For instance, if we go back to my earlier example about picking up weird financial transactions, the next step for that might be to understand how to stop that transaction from occurring, or to flag it to someone, or to in some way interact with your business systems to do something. The same thing goes for a chatbot. If you want to expose some of your troubleshooting information via a chatbot to your clients, then you want to make sure that it can respond to their queries. Now, I'm not going to lie, for many businesses, this is a really scary stage. I mean, it's all good and well to have an AI monitor things, and it's all very well for it to respond and to figure out what it needs to do. But now you're starting to complete the loop with the ability to interact with your systems. And you might be asking yourself questions like, what if it gets it wrong? What if it goes crazy? What if some terrible thing happens and boom, my whole business goes up in smoke? That's pretty good questions to be asking. And there are a bunch of things you can do to mitigate that risk. But the thing is, if you really want to implement an AI agentic framework or an AI agent framework into your business, you're going to have to figure out how to do it. Or you're just going to end up with a really smart recommendation system that still requires a human to go and do those tasks. And I would argue that in the age of AI, that's probably not going to cut it. The next thing you really want to do in your agent is provide it with the ability to execute its decisions. What you really want to get to is the stage where your AI agent framework has information coming in, makes a decision, figure out what it needs to do, and then goes ahead and does it for you in a completely automated fashion. And if you follow my YouTube channel, you'll see some of the cool ways that I'm showing people how to do that as I build my billion-dollar solopreneur business. The thing is here that you really want to be aware of is that execution piece can be really, really challenging. You need to make sure that all of your systems have APIs and that they have the ability to execute the actions that you want to do. You also need to put in safeguards to make sure that if it does go weird and wonky, you've got a way to roll back the outcomes. All of that you can check out. If you want to book me for a consultation, I'll be able to show you how to do it. The final thing there is you really want to create a self-improvement framework for your business. Now, this can be part of your culture, and I talk about that in other episodes, how to build an agentic AI culture. But you really need to make sure that all of the stuff that your AI agent is doing, you can go back and complete the loop. Now, maybe that's about making it more efficient or checking into the workflows or making sure that things went the way that they went to do. Effectively, you want to make sure that your process doesn't just stop with the AI doing things, but that you also have a review process that allows you to check it out and make sure that it's done what you want it to do. I hope that AI agent framework has helped you, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. And as a great man once said, the best is yet to come.